that we're adults, but I will say it out loud just to respect everybody's privacy and fact that we're here in our homes still. But slowly getting back, which is very, very good. Feels good. We'll start with a roll call, and if you guys wouldn't mind unmuting and just saying present so that I know that I can hear you and that you are here, that would be appreciated. Myself present, Chris Schumer. Awesome. Christina Tassone.
Present.
Okay, great. Deepak Bapu.
Present.
All right. Christina Ramos. Katrina. Sorry, I'm going to keep doing that.
Present.
Okay. Stephen Cooper.
Present.
Awesome. Mary McKenna, we know, is absent. And Caitlin Murphy.
Present.
All right. And Laura O'Wymerin.
Oh, you got it. Present.
I practiced.
You got it.
Angie Cantillon.
Present.
Awesome. And Tom Perkarski. I don't see him yet.
Not yet, but we'll keep an eye out for him.
Okay. And then yourself, Chris Munns. I'm going to mark you present there.
And Tom Pekarski's here.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Tom. You're the 312-51 at the end?
What's that?
Your phone number, 312-51 at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Very cool. Everyone was mailed the agenda. I'll take any modifications to the agenda if they need made. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve it.
This is Deepak. I motion to approve the agenda.
This is Angie. I second it.
Great. We will go ahead and approve the agenda with no modifications. And move on to the approval of minutes from the previous meeting, which was our March 15th regular meeting. We'll do the same procedure there. If anybody would like to make any modification, let's hear those. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve the March meeting minutes.
This is Deepak. I motion that we approve the minutes as drafted.
I'll take a second.
It's Christina. I second the motion.
Great. Motion carries there, and we'll approve those March meetings minutes. Let's go into next on the agenda, reports. That's myself here first. And, no particular order of importance. On another great quarter behind us. This is just fantastic to see the successes and the positivity and all the great things coming out of what everybody's putting into this process. So, kudos. Here we go, Q4, and just a great effort by everybody. I've been reading about CPS seeing COVID relief money coming in. There's almost $2 billion out there. Hopefully that's going to land in a good way. And there's a lot of websites to get into, groups to listen to. So I just encourage as much participation as we can, because as stakeholders and folks with a hugely vested interest in this, let's make ourselves known and keep on top of that. I maybe Chris Mons will touch on this, but we got a little shift on the high school application process. A lot of noise out there about what that selective enrollment test is going to look like. Been hearing some things from, especially from 7th grade parents in particular. PTO fundraiser this week on Wednesday. We'll hear a little bit about that too, but another chance to dine local and make some money for the PTO. Also, Principal Munns will probably talk about this too, but the surveys out there for My Voice, My School and the 5 essentials for the students, let's encourage participation in those. It's only a helpful form of feedback. And I think last but not least, just kind of want to again acknowledge all the hard work, the teachers, the staff, the parents, the community have been putting into just our ability to grab hold of and kind of foster this positivity and promise for the school year. It's not been easy, but it's been done well. And I just want to, again, shine some light on that. We'll be celebrating Teacher Appreciation in May before we do our next meeting, so that's always a fun week. It'll be interesting to see how we can decorate doors and show the appreciation virtually. I know we'll do it, and we'll do a great job. And just a kind of special highlight on the students too. They're, in my mind, they're the heroic kids here, showing up, and no one gave them instructions. No one knew how to prop them up, and they showed up and just really, shined this year. So I'd like to couldn't do it without their greatness. So those are my little heroes for the month. Heck, not for the month, for the whole year. I'll go ahead and pass it on to you, Chris, too. Then if you want to, Chris Munns, if you want to go through the principal's report.
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of information. First of all, I have to announce that it's Mr. Kennedy's birthday tonight.
Right.
So I'll try to be as efficient as I can so he can go back to enjoying it with his family. So I appreciate him being
I
here.
think after 30, they all just kind of blend together. It's no big deal. 33 is no big milestone.
Well, still, every year is a milestone, especially after this year. That's for sure. So again, not only happy birthday to Mr. Kennedy, but I cannot give enough kudos to the planning that he's done with all this hybrid learning, scheduling students, shift A, shift B, trying to make accommodations for our CPS employees. I mean, it's a daily looking at. So I cannot thank my right-hand man. That's for darn sure enough. So just wanted a couple things. Wednesday, remind everybody the virtual parent-teacher conferences will be from 11 to 6. As a reminder, unless the teachers have planned around this, there is a lunch break between 2:45 and 3 o'clock. We are in the midst, coming up next week, we begin our IAR testing. So they are continuing to do with state testing. So remember, no NWEA testing. So since there's no NWA testing, there's no SQRP, summative rating. So that kind of all blends, and no reach evaluations for teachers type of thing. So just wanted to make sure our students do get rested. It is still a test. We do want this information. I know they're going to do NWA, I believe, in the fall, and that's also helpful information. So encouraging students to do their best, parents making sure that they get a restful night's sleep, breakfast at home or breakfast at school. There's scheduled IR testing. It's been included in the newsletter, but we start on Monday, April 26th, and continue through May 14th. As a makeup week, I should say. May 10th through 14th is a makeup week. And our virtual students will be joining us on the Wednesdays. So just want to make sure everybody has that on their radar. We do want to make sure that we're taking this seriously and doing our best, just because it gives us better feedback as educators to help our students. So I know the PTO meeting was announced for Wednesday, but some celebrations. 5th and 6th grade team and 7th and 8th grade team made it to the Battle of the Books again. So it's awesome. We're up against 14 schools and I think 15 in the other group. So great job. Kudos to all those kids. I mean, seriously, that's a lot of books to read, to remember them, debate them. So I'm excited for the competition. I think we'll do well. And I want to do a shout out to Mrs. Beastie, Mrs. Murphy, and Mrs. Ocasio for their hard work as coaches. So appreciate it. Doing a it's kind of nice that they can read during our hybrid, but also it can make it difficult to support them and making sure that they get it all. So they're making it work, so it's a great job. Just a shout out again to Mrs. Brenza. We're still doing Donors Choose, so I love it when my teachers do it because it's free money, and she is getting some curriculum information in regards to SEL connections with Read Out Louds, which is great because I think that's going to be a big focus, not only our social emotional learning this year, but also next year, you know, and just keep continuing that. So just wanted to do some of those announcements, shout outs to them. For competency A, I just want to make sure that with the email that I sent today's agenda and principals report, the LSC members did get my full review. It's not the end of the year review that Chief McGlade, Network Chief McGlade did do, but it does give the LSC members another perspective, kind of a little bit more in depth in the sense of regarding education, et cetera. So just wanted to make sure that to call attention to that, to help support with the evaluation. The nice thing is between Lead 180 that Mr. Kennedy did and with the unconscious bias, we have been working on our professional development, which is nice. It's been, I think we're a little bit ahead of the game of our colleagues. We've been doing some great professional development with the teachers and, you know, working with the network. The network chief is going to come out in the next month and do a in-person observation. We don't know the date yet, but I know it will be within the month. But also we are continuing our working together with other colleagues at other schools and supporting our PLCs, our professional learning communities around what we need to get accomplished. It's been really hard to stay on track with CIWP because so many of the things that we wrote in the CIWP would be a lot of in-person stuff, but we're still accomplishing things that we need and can accomplish. So that's a great thing. The battle has finally been won, and this was the battle since January with HR. We were assigned 2 more miscellaneous employees. So I am going to shift some of the miscellaneous employees that I pay for, and CPS is now going to pay for them. So that will help us save a little bit money and get what we need in our personnel to support. Something that I think I'm going to literally hot off the press today in a principals meeting, we were updated on SOPA, which is Student Online Personal Protection Act. So this is an act that came out of California. Parents from California really wanted us to be aware of what kind of information that we're putting out there about our students with different lines of format. So I'm more specifically talking about Dojo or Remind or any of those type of programs that we use. So we're going to get a full list, but we were to be given a heads up that June 30th, Dojo will no longer be allowed, as you know, obviously following the act, the law, and making sure CPS will only vet those outside agencies that we can do our online. So a lot of our online programs do not get paid for until August. So that won't affect us in the sense of financially, but if we get more directives on who procurement approves of what vendors we can use, then we'll get more information. But just wanted to give a heads up to some of the parents, because I do know a lot of them like Dojo, and some of the teachers as well as Remind. Some are using Remind not as many as in the past. Moving on to our mandated Title IX curriculum. So this was information Mr. Kennedy put in our newsletter Sunday night. Some teachers will be sending out letters if you haven't already received them. It's in regards to it is a little bit of sex ed, but it's more about body awareness and stranger danger, that type of thing. It's a mandated, I believe the state of Illinois, I don't think it's federal, it's state of Illinois, and it is a video. Mr. Kennedy already viewed it. It is age appropriate. I also put a website there. It's that www.cps.edu /the OSP, and you can check out the curriculum first. There is an opt-out if you parents want to opt out. I want to make sure that that's clear. That is absolutely fine. So we want to make sure that parents still have a little bit control over that as well. So make sure that when you receive the letter from your teachers, there's a link that prints out for it. And I believe Mr. Kennedy included that in the newsletter as well. Good news, Yvette, our lunchroom manager, surpassed her food establishment inspection. That's a pretty intense inspection. Not only is it on the financial side to make sure of the financials in the sense of not that we're collecting money for lunch, but are we reporting the same amount of people that are eating lunch versus how many being fed, etc. But more importantly, it's food control, which we don't want cross-contamination, etc. So she passed all that, did a great job. Johnson Controls this past month came out, made sure all of our fire alarm system was checked, all the pull stations, and the heat and smoke sensors. So that was a fun day as he's checking each alarm and they keep going off. I'm thinking, why couldn't you come on Wednesday? But it keeps everybody on their toes. We had to just keep reminding the staff. And the EPA requirements for the water quality tested was completed again. There were those two water fountains, and they're still below the lead contamination, what have you. So just want to make sure everybody knows that there is compliance. We have to follow it. They are still coming in, even in the world of COVID, and making sure everything is health and is safe in our building. So that is going on, and I'm not pretty sure just want to talk about our PTO admin sponsoring our teacher appreciation. So I'm going all the way back down to competency D. Mr. Kennedy and I met with Malin and Bertie, and so they've got some great things, and I should say Erin Alvarez as well. Great things planned. We are not going to be able to do the doors, but we're going to do some decorations. So each day they're all going to enjoy, and we're also including the few teachers that are teaching from home. So should be a fun week. It's fun for me to pass out the sweet treats and all that good stuff. So that is it with the principal's report. Is there any questions that I can answer?
I don't know if you can answer this, but just kind of curious with the COVID-19 testing for students, do we have a major, minor, average amount of kids opting into that testing?
We've only had, 6, Sean, right? Each time?
I think there's 12 total on our caseload. Remember, they have to be 10 years and older. I
didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's 10 years and older.
Okay.
So I think there's maybe a handful of fourth graders that qualify, and then the rest are fifth grade and above. And they get it twice a month. So usually it's like today we only had 3 kids on our list. So there was testing today. Last Tuesday there were 6 kids on the list. The Tuesday before there were 7 kids. So I think there's total 12 kids that have opted in.
I'm just curious. Thanks.
Yeah, it's literally I grab them, and then the protocol is I have to stay in the room so that someone from the school is in there, and it literally takes like 30 seconds. So super, non-invasive and routine, and the kids, just say their name, their date of birth, and they go on their way. So, and then it is one that actually gets bottled up in a tube and sent off to a lab. So it's not the, one that the teachers get, which is more of the rapid where they kind of put the solution on it and see if it changes colors or whatever, the pH paper.
To that Title IX training, this is the first year we've seen that. Is that true statement?
That is true.
Okay. It's and it popped up on the high school radar prior
Yep.
to seeing it in elementary, so it's just kind of it's curious. I know even my licensing as an architect, I'm seeing things come down that way. So I'm wondering if it's just the state bubbling, or if it was prompted by something else.
It's always been required for the staff. It's never been a student training. So
Or
staff
okay.
has always completed it, at least in my
Okay.
4 years as assistant principal. We've always had to do the Protecting Chicago's Children, it's called, DCFS, and then the Title IX training. So the staff always does that like August 30th before the
I
kids
didn't know
come
that.
in.
Okay, great.
But the student training for K to 12 is new this year.
Okay.
And it's pretty age appropriate, like I said.
Yeah.
I watched the K through 2 video. It's 23 and a half minutes. I didn't find it to be, anything like outlandish that we wouldn't want our kids to learn. But, that's obviously every parent's decision on their own, and they can kind of look through it themselves.
Sure.
There are some words shared in the sense of,
Giggles.
describing we're going to get that. But just want to give a heads up. I mean, it's the proper terminology, what have you.
Sure. And Robert, I just want to acknowledge your chat too. We will talk about capital expansion in the old business to hear any updates there on the construction project.
And I think Christina has a question. She raised her hand, maybe?
I did. Kristen.
Sorry.
Christina, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Okay. Just a couple quick ones. When the principal's report, for some reason, it came across as a HTML file. I couldn't open it. Chris, I don't know if you can resend it as a PDF or
Okay. Yeah. No,
I'm sorry.
document?
The evaluation, the Network 1 evaluation.
Oh.
Something I couldn't access.
Okay, you know what I might have to do is I may have to print it out because it's from Julie. Not a lot of principals share what the chiefs do. So I'll scan it and send it. Sound good?
The PDF, yeah. Great.
Good. Thanks for letting me know that, Chris.
Yeah. And then the Dojo app being restricted and other apps being restricted. Is that what was the main? Was there like data leak or something? Or was there an incident, or is it just the way certain companies handle their the kids' information?
So in a brief meeting today, it's it's the act. So it came out of California and federal government approved. It was the putting student information and sharing it with an outside vendor like Dojo or like Remind. And that is why they do not want, they want to curtail that. And unless they comply with the certain alignments within the law. So I don't know the law, Chris. I just know it has to do with more of student information that has to be uploaded into, for instance, like Dojo. There can be a picture, there can be information about the child, how they perform that day, how they behavior that day, that type of thing. And then that's in violation because it's also age appropriate. So if students are, and it's not necessarily a safe. So I don't know, I can't answer if there was a breach. I just know that CPS said, if you have this, and I do know a couple of I know second grade level definitely uses it. A couple other teachers, first grade, I think, believe. Kindergarten too, Sean? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we tried to streamline. So this actually came out last year that CPS was going to try to do away with Dojo and Seesaw and a couple others, just because I think they wanted to control it a little bit more. And now it's obviously above them. But then they did give schools the ability to continue with a couple of those platforms. We use it K through 4 in a variety of capacities. Second grade, first and second, I would say use it the most.
Okay, yeah, I'm aware our kids use Dojo, IXL. There's a bunch of third-party apps that are, I think, in use. So this could be pretty impactful, I guess.
So what they're doing, Chris, is we've got to ask permission. So for instance, sometimes teachers will sign up for that personally and then doing it through there. Sometimes schools pay for it out of internal accounts or through a budget. So CPS is saying no more. You can't do because there's a lot of like a teacher will get reimbursement for signing up for it. They're not allowing it. They just don't want it anymore. So like Sean said, they started this, still didn't curtail it. And then, they're not allowing them to be vendors. Therefore, we can't pay for them.
And if it's not them being a vendor, Mr. Schumer, it'll be someone else who will probably be approved and offer the same capability. So I don't think you have to worry about, those types of communication platforms going away. I just think CPS wants to have more control of what it looks like and how it gets out.
Okay.
Laura, you had a question?
Yes, this is regarding the application process for the selective enrollment. This is basically a lot for 7th grade parents. So in the past, it used to be the accumulation of 900 points, which includes school grades 300, the NWEA 300, and the entry exam 300. So now if they're canceling the NWEA, is that they're gonna add the school grades and the entry exam out of 600 now? I mean, can you just elaborate, Mrs. Munz, on that? Because I had few questions today, few people called regarding that.
So a lot of that we can again print it in, but Mr. Kennedy had it all in the newsletter. It's really detailed through there. And it states what the promotion policy as well. They've all been revised. So please, you really have to read the newsletter in order to follow each and how they're doing it. I don't know. I know I can see Sean's trying to find it right now.
Yeah, honestly, they kept it pretty vague because I think they want to make it as fair and similar to what it has been and make sure that the kids that are given the same opportunity are getting into the same schools that they would have in years past. So, I mean, it was literally only a couple bullet points.
You had a few bullet points in the
But yeah, I don't have any more information than what they sent us there.
It does make sense. What's not clear and what parents have been asking, what I've been hearing is they are replacing the selective enrollment exam and everybody will have an opportunity to take it in school. But they won't use the same language. They talk about a high school application test. And the question is whether that high school application test is the exact same test as the SEHS, or is it a revamped test?
My guess is it will be a revamp test. And the reason being is that NWA gave them different data than the selective enrollment test. And I think they're two different pieces of the pie. And if they're only going to offer one test, I think they want to get a better depiction of that student. You know what I mean?
Yep. They say it there, the CPS high school admissions
test.
That's
why I think they didn't give that much information because I think they're trying to figure out what that happy medium between those two tests look like.
What that test is,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
as soon as we get information, we'll obviously pass it along. But what you guys got is what we got. So, Mrs. Allegretti gets, different high school stuff too. But this is all we've gotten so far.
There are town hall opportunities to go and ask these questions as well.
Yes.
About the changes here.
And then I will also say, I'll ask Chief McGlade so if she can push for clarification with the higher ups. So it can be a little bit more clearer in their messaging to the parents.
Correct.
Okay. I will ask her that though. So it's basically the selective enrollment. Do we think it's going to look like the same or not the same as the high school admission test? What is it going to look like, the high school admission test?
Yeah, they're calling it the high school application test. Okay. In their communication, that's what they're calling this replacement test. And if it is a replacement test, to me, it sounds like a new test.
And also, if I may add, what's involved in the points, accumulating the points, because it used to be a combination of school grades.
They said 50-50.
Well, that's the thing, 50-50. So that's out of 600 then now. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole formula is going to probably change.
Yeah, half of your weight was your grade and the other half was the test.
Okay.
That's what we heard as parents.
And that's what we've gotten to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think, the thing is, obviously they've taken away attendance. They did away with that years ago.
Right.
So obviously they're trying to figure out how to deal with, how to get some information on how, the students can perform. The biggest thing with this high school selective, honestly, and I'm even saying this as a parent of college students, you really want the right fit.
Yeah.
You don't want them in too hard of a school or too easy of a school. You just really want the right fit. And you got to remember, there's schools out there, not necessarily all about the scores. There's art schools, there's STEM schools, there's science schools, so those are things to take in consideration. What interests your child? Therefore, they're going to thrive at that school. So,
right. Well said.
In
well
arts
said.
as well,
Yep.
so don't want to. Okay. Any other questions on the principal's report?
I think that's it. I don't see any hands up.
Sorry, Lynn, one last one. The water testing, now that we have, I think, roughly 80% of the students back in the building, and if I recall, the only water fountains that can be used are the ones with the lead filtration, where you can just put your bottle and have the sensor. Is that like a problem, a bottleneck, or do we need to invest in a couple additional ones?
No, you know what, Chris? That's something that we were negotiating with the new addition too. But no, there hasn't been bottlenecking. I will say, the poor kids. Their parents are great. They're filling up their water bottles. I'm seeing them getting out of their cars with these heavy backpacks. So I know they are adding weight, but no, there's no bottlenecking. And yes, those are the water fountains. In addition, I did ask for when we do get the addition that all of our water fountains are exactly like that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Today was only the first, so we
with everyone, yeah.
Just to speak, before the wave that is coming back this week, we had 183 students on Monday and Tuesday. We had 187 students on Thursday, Friday. We'll now have 253 and 254. So, the number is going up, obviously. So we'll keep an eye on that. But the one water fountain is right outside Mrs. Munn's office. The other one's upstairs by the computer lab. So it is somewhat of a longer walk for kids in the new building. Like if you're in 7th grade, you got to go into the old building to fill it up. But I'm sure they don't mind stretching their legs. And I have not noticed any line accruing or anything like that. Because they're filling it up and it's lasting them a period or two before they got to go back. Lunch in between, whatever. So
thank you.
We'll keep an eye on it though.
All right, great. No other questions there. We'll move on to the other reports. And budget, other than we don't have one.
They did.
I shouldn't laugh. It's not
No,
funny.
I know. But they did take down Oracle, so that means they're preparing. So I don't know if it's going to be Oracle's down till Wednesday. I don't know if we're going to see it at the end of the week or if they're going to give it to us
Friday at 5 p.m.
Right.
Yeah. They're notorious for Friday at 5 p.m. Maybe 5:30. I will sound the alarms once you know that I do receive it. There's a couple things that I just want to make sure everyone is aware. And I'm going to talk to, I would like to join the executive session with the PTO just so they're aware of it as well. And maybe Deepak and Katrina, you can ask for me to be invited or relay the message. Just want to let you know, we did get approved for the 665 students. So we were originally at 665 prior to COVID breaking. And they only gave us credit for 615 students. So I do know that they gave us the 665, which is good in the sense that we get that money up front. So if we need teaching positions that we can purchase. If not, I know I need to keep that in mind so that we may need to exchange 124 funds, our internal account funds, if we need to cover ourselves. I am a little worried. I'm putting pressure on Chief McGlade for downtown to make some decisions. I know that they had a battle with getting high school teachers back in school. Now that they've got that covered, I'm hoping that they start to move forward about what next year looks like, because that definitely is a concern that we've gotten from some families. I'm not going to say a lot. I'm going to say some. So I need them to make a decision so our parents know how to proceed, and hopefully not lose students, though, we obviously are struggling in our city and state. But we are getting some COVID relief. I believe it's somewhere like about $174 per student. So I don't know when and how that money is coming, because that's kind of new to me. I am predicting lower Title II funds. They've been eating away at that for some reason. They just, over the years, I think they cut us $40,000, last year. I'm predicting that to be cut, as well as SGSA. So I think what will be important next fall is that we fill out that, I don't know if they're gonna do the FFE forms again, family income forms, FFE, whatever, and that it may have affected, COVID may have affected a lot of our parents financially. So that may help us in the following year. That's a little glimmer of help for not a great thing in life, let me put it that way. But I am predicting Title II and SGSA funding to go down. We still don't know how much money they're gonna give per student, though it's usually around $4,000, a little over $4,000, depending there. So we will plan accordingly. As always, 99.99 will go towards personnel. So the more personnel that we can have, that will be my focus with our budget moving forward. Especially with next year being kind of a recovery year, but also sort of a, we're going to be on top of each other as well. So I don't know how much expanding that I can do. I know that we talked about 3 kindergarten, and that's still my focus and my goal is to have 3 kindergarten classrooms for next year. Okay, so that's what I know from budget.
Yeah, principal evaluation. We've got 2 items down in new business that we'll go over just to formalize that in a public meeting. So we're good there. And then PTO. I don't know if Ms. Ramos wants to say anything there, or
we have a meeting on Wednesday. So this Wednesday, we have a PTO meeting, and there's also the benefit of Backyard Grill. So go support and order from Backyard Grill, and the PTO will get some money from it.
Awesome.
And then again, obviously, we're co-chairing with teacher appreciation, staff appreciation.
Right. That's awesome. Regular business, I don't believe we have any internal accounts, nor do we have any school usage. So we're through there, and then on to old business. If we've had any updates on the expansion.
So the only, I know that we got some text messages. I'm looking out my window in my office. I'm like, what is that antenna going up at the corner? So Justin did reach out. They did have a traffic. They did do the Primera Engineering traffic consultants came in and wanted to get a take on our traffic, flow of traffic. And I had to quickly remind them, we're in hybrid. You're only seeing half of the students that are coming to school. So at least double, if not close to tripling, because there is still, we've got a little over 100 students still learning from home. So I was trying to get them to up, they may have an evaluation, but this is not normalcy. The other thing that they were taking into account, because it was at the corners of Hiawatha and Lamont, and then also
Kilpatrick
yep. Too. So I also wanted to remind them that there is traffic flow that does come by us a few minutes later, I should say, from Unival Saint. So I wanted them to make sure that they were keeping that in mind. I will, once construction, we've got dates and groundbreaking, I will reach out to the principal. I'll go and visit her and let her know, like, can you please advise your parents, to use other streets that they're not going to want to be near the construction by our school. So we'll try to go down there. So that's the latest on that. Nothing else than I have other than that report. I don't know if Elaine, if you have any behind the scenes.
No. Okay. Nope.
But they are moving. So, I mean, that's good. That's good. That's progress. There's progress.
We'll go on to new business. There's 2 items we need to cover here. More formality in a public meeting than anything. The first is the principal contract renewal. So what we ultimately need here is a motion, a second, and a pass by a simple majority. Knowing that the board has compiled the principal practice and the student growth numbers in a closed session meeting that we had. That's the chart of the SPQR ratings that we did have, albeit 2. We averaged 2 of them. And then the principal practice scores over the past 4 years. We looked at those numbers and reached a consensus. I would like to make a motion that we accept the evaluation as the board discussed it in that closed executive session and renew Principal Munz's contract for another 4 years. So if I could get someone to second that motion, that would be wonderful. And then we'll see if a majority agrees.
This is Katrina.
Go ahead, Katrina, sorry.
This is Katrina. I second the motion.
All right, great. So if I could, this is always awkward on a virtual platform. I will give everybody a chance to, I guess, voice a, no, let's do it this way. Anybody not in favor of this motion, please make themselves known now. Either raise their hand physically if their button's not working, use their button, or speak out loud. And I'll give it just a minute. And if I don't hear anything here, which I'm documenting no reaction, I'm going to assume the rest accept that. I'll take that as a simple majority, and whoo-hoo-hoo, we've got a new contract. So thank you, Chris. It's been incredible. Thank you for, thank you for everything that you've been doing for the school. So it can't be stated gloriously enough. So it's great to know we're going to do this for another 4 years at least.
And listen, I'm only as good as my staff, and more importantly, my assistant principal and clerk. By the way, today is Administrative Assistance Day. So I do want to give a shout out. It's so important to find a partner like Mr. Kennedy, that I think we're like the yin and yang of each other, and his detail oriented is really helps me with my more broad vision, what have you. So couldn't do it without him. It is a team effort. The teachers are incredibly talented. Staff members, everybody always steps up. And I love the phrase, we do it here because we're Sauganash. So we do the best that we can every day for our students. And it's a team effort, including local school council members. If you were infighting, my life would be very, very much more difficult. So I appreciate you all, and I appreciate PTO, because I could not do it without their support, especially financially, but also school culture and helping us do our family activities, which hopefully up soon we'll be able to do that again. And listen, the parents, the learning first starts at home. So if we didn't have the parent support that help us keep and maintain our students to be successful, and when our students need support, that parents feel comfortable enough to reach out and ask for it. So you need to continue that. And like I've always said, every year, my husband really appreciates the fact that I yell at the board and not at him when I keep them too exhausted. So perseverance. They know that I will not give up. And like Julie said, Chief McGlade, she doesn't know a principal that was able to get 2 additions, but I didn't do that alone. So, you know, kudos to everybody. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Second formality here is the approval for the principal evaluation scoring. So kind of in the same process in an executive session, you know, at last month's meeting, we, the board, you know, rated the principal Munns on each of the 5 competencies. The leadership competencies, we discussed that scoring and we came to a consensus of an overall rating of excellent. That breakdown of the score, I emailed it to everyone, so I'm hoping they put their eyes to it for any kind of reaction. I didn't get any. We're going to vote on that weighted score and that rating of excellent. So I will, I'm the administrator in the PIAT system. I will physically enter those numbers, assuming, not assuming, but we will vote on what it is that I'm going to enter. And in that email, you guys on the board saw what those scores are. You know, that was the 1 through 4 rating that we put together. What I need to do to formalize this is vote on that weighted score and the rating of excellence. So I need to go through the roll call one by one and collect either a yes vote from you, a no vote, or an abstain for everybody at the meeting. So I'm going to bother you to unmute or do, you know, make yourself known when I come to your name. We'll also record who's not present tonight to vote. So if you give me a second here, I'm going to start with myself, and I'm going to give a yes vote. On to Chris Schumer. Can I get your vote?
Yes.
Okay. Christina?
Yes.
Deepak Bapu.
Yes.
Katrina Ramos.
Yes.
Stephen Cooper.
Yes.
Mary McKenna is absent. Caitlin Murphy.
Yes.
Laura O'Wyman.
Yes.
Angie Cantillon.
Yes.
Tom Prakarsky.
Yes.
And then Christina Munns.
Jane.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you again for all of our hard work. It's, I'll say it out, it's easy to do when we have such a great principal. So, but there's great discussion there. I also shared the supporting evidence with the board. You know, I got reactions there. So Chris, let's make an appointment, phone call or something to discuss those. I think we got some really great initiatives and ideas and feedback for you, you know, for the next, to launch the next 4 years. So
Perfect. Sounds good. We'll coordinate offline for sure.
that sounds awesome. And we can move into public comment then. If anybody is with us on the meeting that would like to unmute themselves and take a moment to bring anything forward to the board.
You know, I see Robert.
Yep.
Yeah, update on slides. So we did do the presentation. It's been in the newsletter multiple times. That was the slide presentations from PBC. I'm happy to provide the actual plans. I think they went through those on there, correct?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So I'll, Rob, I can give you a copy of them if that would be more helpful. If you want a hard copy, let me know what you would like.
Okay, well, we just haven't noticed them in the newsletter, so maybe we just missed it.
All good, but I'll give you a copy of it as well, just so you can see.
It was in the last 2 newsletters, I believe. Everything that we had. Here, hold on. Let me pop something in the chat real quick. I did not put in this most recent.
No, but I know it's been in quite a few times.
That's all right.
Was it just a link or? Yeah,
I'll show you it real quick, and then I'll pop it in the chat, and then that way everyone has it.
And did they provide any detailed plans, or is it just like that general, you know, kind of sketch of the outline?
Yeah, they likely don't have them. They're probably working at a schematic level, so they're putting their scheme together, and probably, you know, they're
So this-
diagrammatic more than anything right now, I think.
This was the April 19th newsletter. And then if you click here, these were the slides of the actual presentation the night of. And then we also put in, so those are on the actual thing if you click here, which is also linked here. But then this is the other piece that we had that Mrs. Munns and I got when we had our private meeting about like the specific classrooms.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I've gotten, unless I missed
No,
something.
I haven't got anything else. But Robert, is that suffice? Are you good with that?
No, that's what I was expecting. We just must have missed it in the newsletter.
That's all right.
All good.
Sometimes it's like clear in my head, but I'm like, man, some other people might not know exactly if this is as clear as it's making in my head. So,
yeah,
you know,
I have to ask, did they ever send through the recording? I know
they did not. That's the only thing I was going to
recorded.
say. The recording we never did receive, or I didn't.
I'll ask Justin for it. I'll ask them. He's in charge right now.
I'll put this again in this week's newsletter. I'll put it again just so everyone has it, and then I'll try to make these like buttons to make it a little bit more presentable.
All right, thanks.
Right, the headline was 2023 Q1, right? That's the completion timeline, at least the goal.
That's what was said.
That's what.
That's a place to start. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they'll meet it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll meet it.
Good.
All right.
Design looked really great. Had some questions about the gym size and all that, but overall I thought the designs looked great. And I was glad they finally did that session after. Thanks for nudging them, or however, I don't know what you had to do to get them to do the meeting, but every few months, if we could get something like that, just to know where it's going, I think would be good for the community, good for parents who are on the fence about staying or going. A lot of parents want this addition, so I think we should kind of give them periodic updates to show it is coming, it is happening.
It is, for sure, Chris. And then once it starts going, it goes really fast. Like I said, we'll be in weekly construction meetings. So I will give updates, and then we'll be more than happy to give the updates in Mr. Kent, in the newsletter.
Yeah. I think I'm hearing Chris Schumer too, a strong communication up until parents are deciding on whether or not to send their kids to school there this fall too.
And just piggybacking on that, Miss Vicky has already started enrollment. So she's been doing it on Zoom. So if they're neighbors, anybody that's not family member or even our younger siblings, please just call Miss Vicky. She'll set up an appointment, and then it's Zoom, and then parents just come by, sign the paperwork. So they've been pretty good about it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
I will go, Chris, and we'll add that also in the, maybe we'll do a little enticement in the sounds and that type of thing, just to get the word out there, music room, all that fun stuff.
Cool.
And quick question, is that also for not just for kindergartners, but also any transferred students that we know of are coming in the neighborhood and transferring?
Anybody kindergarten through 8th.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and that actually, the sooner the better that I know, because that helps me with not only planning, but financially too.
Yep.
Okay.
So no other agenda items there that I can think of for next meeting. Sign up for the parent-teacher conferences, and just a reminder too, the communication's not restricted to just that day, that the parents and teachers have excellent relationships, and we can come to them at any point with concerns, talk, and accolades there. So it's not relegated to the one day. Happy birthday, Mr. Kennedy. Woohoo! I wish I was 33.
Thank you.
And we will meet then May 17th. The only thing that's going to charge us to meet before that is if we get some budget information. And we'll do this again, same bat channel then in May. So again, Have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for all the work on the principal evaluations and all that work too. So
Thank you for the contract.
all
Appreciate it.
right, all right, all right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night, everyone.
you.
Happy birthday,
Have a good
Sean.
night.
All right, good night.
Thank you all.